Emily Riedel has struck gold, literally, by uncovering a $40 million hidden cache beneath the icy waters of the Bering Sea. Using a combination of sonar mapping, underwater drones, and meticulous research, Emily located a previously undiscovered deposit that had eluded treasure hunters for decades. The cache isn't just a scatter of small nuggets. It's a concentrated vein of gold, partially embedded in sediment and rock, requiring careful extraction to preserve its value. Every scoop reveals a mix of massive nuggets, flakes, and historical artifacts, hinting at long-lost mining operations or secret stashes hidden during past expeditions. Emily's bold approach, combining modern technology with daring exploration, has turned what others assumed was impossible into a record-breaking find. Crews are working tirelessly to secure the gold, and the implications of this discovery could reshape local claims and spark new interest in underwater mining operations across the region. This isn't just a haul, it's a game-changing strike in treasure hunting history. Like and subscribe to follow every moment as Emily Riedel unearths the $40 million Bering Sea gold cache and pushes the limits of modern treasure discovery. Emily Riedel, already legendary in the world of deep-sea treasure hunting, had been scanning the icy expanse of the Bering Sea when her sonar pinged something unusual. A glint, faint but unmistakable, lurking beneath the trench's jagged depths. The readings didn't match any natural formation. The crew held their breath as Emily leaned over the console, tracing the signals that danced like ghostly trails on the screen. Early dives confirmed their suspicions. Jagged rock formations concealed something metallic, reflecting the dim lights of the submersibles in the cold, murky water. Every glimmer was a siren call, a hint of riches hidden for centuries. The environment itself seemed determined to test them. Shifting icebergs scraped across the surface, creating currents so treacherous that even the most precise navigation could falter. Every dive demanded meticulous coordination. One wrong move could send expensive equipment tumbling into the abyss, or worse, put a life at risk. Yet, amid the chaos, patterns began to emerge. The seabed held traces of human activity, debris arranged too methodically to be natural, remnants of what Emily guessed could be a lost trade vessel from the 1700s, a ship carrying gold, coins, and possibly secrets lost to history. Submersibles descended deeper, the beams from their lights cutting through the near-total darkness. Metallic reflections appeared intermittently, teasing the crew with possibilities just out of reach. Sonar scans revealed hidden cavities beneath the jagged rock shelves, promising storage chambers that had somehow survived centuries beneath crushing pressure and freezing waters. Each new reading raised the stakes, tension thickening the icy air in the control room. Suddenly, a strong current slammed the remotely operated submersible, forcing it to rock violently as Emily barked orders into her headset. Every movement had to be precise. One miscalculation, and months of careful planning could be lost in seconds. Preliminary scans confirmed the metals weren't ordinary. They included gold alloys, traces of platinum glinting faintly beneath layers of silt. Then came the first images, a solid golden object, gleaming through the murk like a beacon, triggering excitement, disbelief, and a cautious strategizing session. As the divers worked their way closer, they stumbled upon something extraordinary, a collapsed wooden structure, partially embedded in ice and seabed silt, almost perfectly preserved despite centuries underwater. It was clearly a storage hold from a shipwreck, long buried yet mysteriously intact. Chests and crates, fused to the ocean floor over time, emerged from the darkness, some sealed by ice, others showing signs of chemical preservation, salt, and even traces of mercury, suggesting someone had gone to extreme lengths to protect whatever lay inside. Emily's mind raced. This wasn't just a wreck. It could have been part of a larger smuggling operation gone horribly wrong. A secret treasure cache abandoned and lost to the ages. The team moved carefully, documenting everything. Coins of unfamiliar design, ingots with faint stamps, and mysterious containers that might hold even stranger secrets were brought into focus. Every item cataloged increased the weight of their discovery, both literally and figuratively. The realization settled in. This wasn't just gold. This was history frozen in time, hidden for centuries beneath the merciless Bering Sea, waiting for someone daring enough and lucky enough to find it. Emily and her team knew this was only the beginning. The deeper they went, the more the trench seemed to whisper of untold riches lying just beyond reach. But the environment reminded them that fortune came at a cost. Shifting icebergs above sent sudden shocks through the water, their massive movements triggering underwater collapses that rattled the submersibles and sent clouds of sediment swirling in every direction. Every dive became a battle against nature itself. Currents strong enough to tip equipment, visibility reduced to near zero by silt and debris, and the ever-present danger of structural instability lurking beneath the seabed. Territorial seals, curious and aggressive, swam too close for comfort, while predatory fish darted in and out of the murky shadows, adding a layer of unpredictability to every maneuver. Despite the chaos, Emily maintained razor-sharp focus, ordering strict safety protocols and insisting that human life take priority over speed or greed, ensuring that every extraction attempt was carefully calculated before moving a single crate. Even with these hazards, progress was unavoidable. The first crates, smaller but heavy, were carefully lifted to the surface, each revealing tantalizing glimpses of what lay within. Coins gleamed faintly, some partially corroded but unmistakably historic, alongside nuggets and partially melted gold bars, whose irregular shapes hinted at centuries of exposure and decay. The valuations were staggering. Even at a glance, the contents hinted at millions in rare metal and cultural artifacts, some pieces so unique that they could rewrite parts of maritime history. Divers reported faint engravings on certain chests, marks of ownership or symbols of secretive trading guilds that once dominated European commerce. Every artifact added weight to the theory that this wasn't a random shipwreck, but a deliberate cache, meticulously hidden and preserved. Emily coordinated secure storage on nearby vessels, reinforced against both the harsh sea conditions and potential theft, while her team documented every detail with painstaking precision, understanding that the significance of this find stretched far beyond its monetary value. Among the recovered items, a fragile, water-stained map surfaced, edges frayed, and symbols nearly illegible. But what could be deciphered suggested coordinates leading deeper into the trench, areas previously untouched by their dives. The cryptic markings hinted that someone long ago had mapped out these treasures, perhaps even rival treasure hunters who had vanished centuries prior. Emily's mind raced with the implications. The map could lead to more chests, larger caches, or artifacts of even greater historical significance. Sonar scans confirmed subtle irregularities in the seabed that matched the coordinates, depressions, and hidden cavities lying dormant under layers of ice and sediment, waiting to be explored. With the storm above intensifying, Emily made the decision to expand excavation immediately. Each dive became a calculated risk, balancing the potential for unprecedented treasure against the merciless unpredictability of the Bering Sea. Sediment clouds swirled around the submersibles, robotic arms scraping carefully along the seabed to avoid further collapses, while divers maneuvered through narrow channels between jagged rock formations. The team worked in near-perfect synchronization, each member anticipating the movements of another, as if part of a single, breathing organism united by the magnitude of the discovery. Some crates had been crushed over the centuries, gold pieces scattered and embedded in ice and rock, forcing the crew to carefully chip and lift fragments one by one. Every nugget recovered seemed to pulse with history, the cold metal a tangible connection to long-forgotten sailors, smugglers, and traders who had risked everything to conceal it. Emily paused on several occasions to study these fragments, recognizing patterns in the markings and alloys that suggested an organized effort, a cargo so valuable that secrecy had been paramount, even in the face of disaster. Night dives added an eerie dimension. Lights from the submersibles cut through the black waters, casting ghostly reflections on the silt-laden seabed. Shadows played tricks on the eye, making debris seem animate, and every sonar ping was met with a tense silence as the crew waited to see what might emerge. Despite the danger, morale was high. The discovery of the first haul had injected adrenaline into every movement, and the tantalizing promise of deeper riches drove the team forward. The map continued to dominate discussion in the control room. Emily, cross-referencing the markings with sonar anomalies, identified several zones where further treasure might lie. Each zone presented new challenges: stronger currents, thicker ice, and tighter underwater crevices that would test the limits of both technology and human endurance. Yet, the potential rewards, hidden caches, intact ingots, and artifacts of incalculable value were too great to ignore. Plans were drawn for methodical dives, layering exploration with extreme caution, while simultaneously preparing the vessels to handle an expanding load of gold and relics. Every recovered artifact told a story. Every scattered nugget whispered secrets from centuries past. Emily's team moved with a blend of urgency and reverence, understanding that the Bering Sea had been keeping its treasures for hundreds of years. And now, finally, they were witnessing history resurface. The cold, dark waters around them seemed to hum with possibility, each dive revealing more than just gold, a hidden world of human ambition, daring, and secrecy, frozen beneath the ice, waiting to be uncovered. But the very significance of their discovery carried danger. Satellite images confirmed Emily's growing suspicion. Unidentified ships patrolled the fringes of the Bering Sea Trench, their movements deliberate, calculated, impossible to ignore. Rival treasure hunters, or worse, opportunistic operatives, were now aware that something extraordinary lay beneath the waves. In response, Emily tightened security protocols immediately. Nighttime operations became the norm, with submersibles moving under the cloak of darkness, coded radio communications masking their location, and every above and below surface movement meticulously logged. Crew rotations were adjusted to maintain maximum vigilance, the team acutely aware that history was as fragile as it was valuable, and any lapse could cost them the haul and their lives. Tension reached a new peak when a sudden underwater disturbance jolted one of the submersibles, damaging a robotic arm critical for extraction. The team froze for a moment, questioning whether the anomaly was a natural hazard or sabotage. Every creak of the machinery, every flicker of sonar became a source of anxiety, as the thought of losing months of work, or worse, having rival claimants interfere, loomed over every decision. Morale teetered as delays mounted. Even experienced divers felt the strain of extended missions, harsh currents, and the ever-present specter of danger. Emily's voice cut through the tension, reminding the team that secrecy was paramount, not just from competitors, but also from authorities who might intervene if news of the find reached the wrong ears. With tensions high, extraction continued. Larger crates, some partially fused with the seabed over centuries, were carefully lifted using cranes and submersible lifts. Each operation required precise timing. Even the slightest miscalculation could shear metal or damage priceless cargo. Some of the crates, upon closer inspection, emitted faint traces of corrosion-resistant metals, likely ancient methods of preservation intended to protect gold, platinum, and rare artifacts from the ravages of salt water and ice. The haul itself had grown significantly, now including not only gold, but platinum and historically significant silver coins, some engraved with intricate gild markings that confirmed Emily's suspicions of a secretive European trade network. High-definition footage captured by submersibles ensured every crate, every artifact, and every nugget was meticulously documented, forming a comprehensive archive for both valuation and historical record. Plans were drawn for a reinforced vessel to secure the expanding haul, capable of withstanding the notoriously violent storms of the Bering Sea, ensuring that nothing would be lost once the treasure was finally surfaced. Yet danger persisted, often when least expected. During one extraction, a sudden trench landslide buried several crates under a mixture of silt and rock, forcing the team into emergency recovery operations. Divers scrambled, carefully chipping away debris while monitoring shifting sediment that could collapse again at any moment. Toxic gases trapped beneath centuries of compressed sediment added an additional hazard. Every inhalation had to be managed, and exposure minimized to prevent temporary illness or worse. Even as the team fought to secure the crates, marine sensors detected unusual magnetic anomalies in surrounding areas, suggesting additional caches buried deeper or scattered along hidden underwater corridors. The possibility of more treasure only intensified the urgency and complexity of the operation. Emily, recognizing the limits of human endurance, deployed remote drones equipped with specialized excavation tools to explore zones too dangerous for divers. These drones maneuvered through tight caverns and collapsed chambers, scanning for gold, coins, and artifacts with an accuracy that human hands could not achieve in such treacherous conditions. Every new reading added to the digital map being created of the trench, mapping every cavern, crevice, and potential hiding spot for centuries-old treasure. Patterns began to emerge in the distribution of caches, suggesting deliberate placement, perhaps to mislead competitors or protect the cargo from environmental hazards. The crew observed as drones delicately extracted fragments, carefully maneuvering through tight channels, retrieving coins and nuggets that had remained untouched for hundreds of years. As the extraction pushed forward, the Bering Sea itself seemed to push back. Sediment clouds churned, visibility dropped to almost zero, and unexpected currents shifted crates and artifacts in ways that defied prediction. Divers relied on sonar and robotic assistance to navigate through these turbulent underwater corridors, each successful retrieval becoming a small victory against both nature and history. The team worked in synchronized precision, a ballet of human skill and mechanical accuracy, their efforts chronicled by submersibles, capturing every moment in crystal clarity. Emily oversaw operations from both the control room and the vessel deck, constantly recalibrating strategies in response to shifting hazards while maintaining morale and focus among her exhausted but dedicated crew. By the time the last crates of this stage were lifted and secured, the trench had revealed only a portion of its hidden wealth. Magnetic anomalies and subtle readings hinted at deeper deposits yet to be uncovered, treasures that might prove even more valuable and even more treacherous than anything they had faced so far. Every new fragment, every shimmer beneath the icy seabed reinforced the truth. This was no ordinary shipwreck or random cache. It was a meticulously concealed treasure, scattered and protected over centuries, now gradually yielding its secrets. Emily's team began to grasp the full magnitude of their discovery, a living map of history, wealth, and danger intertwined beneath the Bering Sea, each dive peeling back another layer of mystery and risk. Preliminary assessments only heightened the awe. Over $40 million in gold, platinum, and historic artifacts had been recovered, a trove both staggering and surreal beneath the frozen expanse. Some nuggets were massive, partially embedded in the seabed for centuries, their extraction requiring surgical precision to avoid damage. Each chunk of gold seemed to carry the weight of history itself, frozen in time and now surfacing to tell its story. Crew members worked with relentless focus, chipping away sediment, prying embedded bars free, and maneuvering submersible lifts with careful exactitude, while Emily oversaw every operation, fully aware that a single misstep could compromise not only the haul, but the integrity of centuries-old secrets. Smaller pieces were melted on site into bars for safer transport, a delicate process that had to balance speed, safety, and preservation. Larger nuggets, some the size of bowling balls, were left intact, preserved as historic specimens as much as monetary assets. Every movement of the treasure was logged, cataloged, and photographed, creating a digital archive that would survive far beyond the immediate operation. Security protocols escalated to levels rarely seen in treasure recovery. Constant aerial and maritime monitoring ensured no intruders could approach unnoticed, while encrypted communications and rapid response boats remained on standby. Emily's mind was constantly a step ahead, coordinating with her team to protect not only the gold, but the historical artifacts that in some cases held irreplaceable cultural significance. Remote scans continued to reveal hidden chambers beneath layers of ice and sediment, some extending beyond the initial excavation site. Among these, Emily's team discovered artifacts that appeared ceremonial or symbolic, objects that hinted at the operations of historical smuggling guilds, their secrets encoded in metal and wood. Ancient shipwreck remnants surfaced, cannons corroded with age, rigging still tangled with centuries-old ropes, and hull fragments encrusted with barnacles. These findings confirmed a theory that had been forming since the first dives, that multiple vessels had contributed to the cache, perhaps part of a coordinated effort to safeguard precious cargo from pirates, rival traders, or political upheaval. The treasure had been divided, hidden, and preserved with such cunning that even centuries later, only the most determined and skilled explorers could uncover it. The logistics of extraction became a ballet of timing and precision. Calm weather windows were exploited to lift remaining chests, submersibles working in tandem with cranes to bring each item safely to the vessel.
Yay! A bit of yellow. Yay! Just going to show you some of the magnificent things that I get to see when I'm out on the ground. And you can too. It's just a matter of lots of research so you don't waste a lot of money and time on the ground. But even if you don't find gold out here, sometimes some of the country's so special to look at, you sort of don't miss it that much. I've walked about, 3 or 4 Ks to where I am now, and I can just start to see dust coming up from different roads out further from me, so I'm starting to get up in altitude. Alright, be back on with some gold next.